Picture this: a billionaire walks into his mansion, expecting silence, but instead finds his black maid cradling his newborn baby. His heart stops. What's happening here? Stick around, because this story of trust, love, and a moment that shatters every stereotype will leave you speechless and keep you glued to the screen. This isn't just about a rich guy and a maid. It's a roller coaster of emotions, a tale of two people from opposite worlds finding common ground in the most unexpected way. You're about to dive into the life of James Hawthorne, a billionaire with everything money can buy, and Aisha Williams, the woman who cleans his house but changes his heart. There's a baby, a misunderstanding, and an act of kindness so powerful it'll make you rethink what you know about people. You're gonna hear about their struggles, their fears, and a moment that flips their lives upside down. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single second of this. Let's set the scene. James Hawthorne is 42, a tech billionaire who built an empire from nothing. He's the guy you read about in Forbes, the one with a sleek penthouse in Manhattan, a private jet, and a net worth of $3.2 billion, according to a 2024 Bloomberg report on tech moguls. His company, Horizon Innovations, makes apps that power half the world's smartphones. Think GPS that never fails or payment systems so secure they're used by banks. James grew up in a small Ohio town, son of a factory worker and a nurse, but he clawed his way to the top with grit, coding late into the night while his classmates partied. By 30, he was a millionaire. By 40, he was untouchable. His life looks perfect on paper. He's got a sprawling mansion in Greenwich, Connecticut, with marble floors and chandeliers that cost more than most people's houses. His wife, Lauren, is a former model, elegant and poised, the kind of woman who lights up a room. They've got a newborn daughter, Emma, just 3 months old, with tiny fingers and a giggle that melts James's heart. But behind the glossy Instagram posts, James's world is cracking. He's working 80-hour weeks, flying to Tokyo one day, London the next. Lauren's struggling with postpartum depression, a silent battle that leaves her distant, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, which says 1 in 7 new mothers face this. James loves Emma, but he's barely home to hold her. He's drowning in board meetings and stock options, and the guilt of being an absent dad gnaws at him like a bad tooth. James's mansion runs like a well-oiled machine, thanks to his staff. There's a chef, a gardener, a driver, and Aisha Williams, the housekeeper who keeps the place spotless. Aisha's 29, a single mom from Harlem, with a smile that hides a lifetime of hustle. She's been cleaning houses since she was 18, working her way through community college, dreaming of a better life for her son, Malik, who's 8 and loves basketball. Aisha's the kind of person who hums gospel while she mops, who notices when Lauren's having a rough day and leaves a cup of tea on the counter without a word. She's invisible to James, just another face in the background of his busy life. But that's about to change. Let's zoom in on Aisha. She grew up in a cramped apartment in Harlem, raised by her grandmother after her mom passed from breast cancer when she was 10. Her dad was never in the picture, and her grandma worked 2 jobs to keep the lights on. Aisha learned early that life doesn't hand you anything, you fight for it. She was a straight-A student, but college dreams took a back seat when she got pregnant at 20. Malik's dad left before he was born, so Aisha became mom and dad, working nights as a cleaner while studying for her associate's degree in social work. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 65% of single mothers live below the poverty line, and Aisha's no exception. Her rent eats half her paycheck, and every extra dollar goes to Malik's school supplies or basketball camp. Working for the Hawthornes is steady money, but it's not easy. The mansion's huge, 6 bedrooms, a home theater, a pool, and James likes everything perfect. Aisha's on her feet for hours, scrubbing floors, dusting shelves, folding laundry with precision. She sees things others miss: Lauren's untouched coffee cups piling up, a sign of her struggle, Emma's tiny socks scattered in the nursery, a reminder of the baby's chaotic joy. Aisha's good at her job, but she's more than a maid. She's a listener, a problem solver, someone who can read a room. When Lauren's too tired to talk, Aisha doesn't push, she just makes sure the house feels like a home. She's never met James face to face, he's always gone before she arrives, but she knows his world. The tailored suits in his closet, the stress in Lauren's voice, the way Emma's crib is always empty because Lauren's too overwhelmed to put her down. Aisha's own life is a juggling act. She takes the train from Harlem to Greenwich, an hour each way, listening to audiobooks on social work or calling Malik to check on his homework. She dreams of opening a community center one day, a place for kids like Malik to feel safe and dream big. But dreams are hard when you're scraping by. A 2023 study from the Urban Institute shows that 70% of low-income single mothers report chronic stress, and Aisha feels it, her shoulders tight, her sleep shallow. Yet she keeps going, for Malik, for herself, for the hope that one day she'll break the cycle. It's a muggy Tuesday in August 2024, and James's schedule is a nightmare. He's supposed to be in San Francisco for a shareholder meeting, but a flight delay brings him home early, something that almost never happens. He's exhausted, his tie loosened, his phone buzzing with emails he can't ignore. He just wants a shower and a moment to see Emma, to hold her and feel like a dad for once. The mansion's quiet when he steps inside, the kind of stillness that feels heavy, like the air's holding its breath. Lauren's at a therapy session, part of her recovery plan, and the house feels empty without her. James drops his briefcase, expecting to find Emma napping in her crib. But then he hears it, a soft hum, a gospel tune, coming from the nursery. His stomach twists. Who's in his house? He moves quietly, heart racing, and peers through the nursery door. That's when he freezes. Aisha, the maid he's never met, is standing there, rocking Emma in her arms. Emma's tiny head rests on Aisha's shoulder, her little hand curled around Aisha's finger. Aisha's singing softly, her voice warm and soothing, like a lullaby woven from love. James's first instinct is panic. Who is this woman holding his daughter? His mind races with worst-case scenarios, fueled by exhaustion and the protective instincts of a new dad. But something stops him. Emma's calm, her breathing steady, her face peaceful in a way James hasn't seen in weeks. Aisha's eyes are gentle, focused on the baby, oblivious to James standing there. He steps into the room, his voice sharp. What's going on here? Aisha jumps, clutching Emma closer, her eyes wide with surprise. Mr. Hawthorne, I didn't know you were home, she stammers. I was just. Lauren was out, and Emma was crying, and her voice trails off, fear flickering in her eyes. James's jaw tightens. He doesn't know Aisha, doesn't know her story, only that she's the maid, and she's holding his baby. The moment hangs heavy, tension crackling like static. This is where everything could go wrong, a misunderstanding, a snap judgment, a moment that could break two lives apart. Here's where it gets messy. James is a billionaire, used to control, to calling the shots. He's built walls around his life, trusting only a select few. Aisha's a black single mom from Harlem, working a job that's invisible to most, living in a world where she's judged before she speaks. According to a 2022 Pew Research Center study, 60% of Americans say racial bias impacts hiring and workplace treatment, and Aisha's felt it, clients who watch her too closely, who assume she's less capable because of her skin or her job. James doesn't know her heart, only what he sees, a stranger with his daughter. His mind's screaming danger, but his heart's caught on Emma's peace, on Aisha's gentle touch. The problem isn't just this moment. It's the gap between their worlds. James lives in a bubble of privilege, private schools, gated communities, a life where money solves most problems. Aisha's world is one of survival, late-night shifts, dodging eviction notices, praying Malik stays out of trouble. A 2023 report from the Economic Policy Institute shows that black workers earn 76 cents for every dollar a white worker makes in similar roles, and Aisha's paycheck reflects that harsh reality. She's used to being unseen, underestimated, her worth measured by the floors she scrubs. James's suspicion, though born of fear for Emma, risks becoming something uglier, a judgment shaped by stereotypes he doesn't even realize he holds. Then there's Lauren's struggle. Postpartum depression has left her feeling like a failure, unable to bond with Emma the way she wants. The American Psychological Association says 10 to 15% of new mothers face severe postpartum depression, and Lauren's in that fight, her days clouded by guilt and exhaustion. She trusts Aisha, relies on her quiet strength, but James doesn't know that. He's been too busy to see how Aisha's become a lifeline for Lauren, how her small acts, making tea, folding Emma's clothes, keep the house from falling apart. This moment in the nursery could spiral into a disaster, a clash of fear, privilege, and misunderstanding that could cost Aisha her job and shatter the fragile trust holding this household together. James stands frozen, his mind a tug-of-war between instinct and reason. He wants to grab Emma, to demand answers, but Aisha's voice cuts through. She was crying, "Sir," she says, her tone steady despite her fear. Lauren had to leave, and the nanny called in sick. I couldn't let her cry alone. There's no defiance in her words, just truth, and it hits James like a wave. He looks at Emma, still nestled against Aisha, her tiny chest rising and falling in perfect calm. He notices Aisha's hands, calloused, gentle, protective. For the first time, he really sees her, not as the maid, but as a person. Aisha's heart is pounding. She knows how this looks, a black woman in a rich man's house, holding his baby without permission. She's seen enough news stories, read enough studies, like the 2021 ACLU report on workplace discrimination, to know how fast this could go wrong. She could lose her job, her reputation, everything she's fought for. But she couldn't ignore Emma's cries, not when she knows that bone-deep ache of a child needing comfort. She thinks of Malik, how she'd rock him through fevers and nightmares, and her instincts took over. She's not apologizing for that, but she's terrified of what James might do. James takes a step back, his shoulders loosening. You didn't have to do that, he says, his voice softer now. Aisha meets his gaze, her eyes steady. I know, but she needed someone. The words hang there, simple but heavy. James feels a pang of guilt, he's barely been that someone for Emma, too caught up in his empire to notice his family slipping away. He thinks of Lauren, how she's been struggling, how he's missed the signs. He looks at Aisha, really looks, and sees the exhaustion in her eyes, the strength in her posture. He's starting to realize she's not just a background figure in his life. They talk, haltingly at first. Aisha explains how she's been helping Lauren, not just cleaning but listening, leaving notes with dinner recipes, checking on Emma when the nanny's late. James admits he's been absent, that he doesn't know his own house anymore. It's awkward, two strangers bridging a chasm, but it's a start. James asks about Aisha's life, and she tells him about Malik, about her dreams of social work, about the grind of making ends meet. He's stunned, she's not just a maid, she's a fighter, a dreamer, someone who's carried burdens he can't imagine. A 2024 Labor Department report says 40% of single mothers work multiple jobs to survive, and Aisha's story makes that statistic real for James. Days pass, and James can't shake the image of Aisha with Emma. He talks to Lauren, who's tearful but grateful, explaining how Aisha's been her rock. She's more than a housekeeper, James, Lauren says. She's family. James starts noticing Aisha's touches around the house. The way she organizes Emma's toys, the post-it notes with encouraging words for Lauren. He sees her humming as she works, her love for Malik shining through when she talks about him. He's ashamed of his initial reaction, the snap judgment that almost cost him this truth. One evening, James comes home early again, this time on purpose. He finds Aisha in the kitchen, packing up to leave. He hands her an envelope, his hands shaking slightly. This is for you, he says. Inside is a check, not a fortune, but enough to cover Malik's basketball camp for a year and part of Aisha's tuition for her social work degree. I misjudged you, he says, his voice thick. You've been holding my family together, and I didn't see it. This is a start, to say thank you. Aisha's eyes fill with tears, but she shakes her head. I don't need this, Mr. Hawthorne. I did it for Emma, for Lauren. James insists. You deserve it, Aisha. And call me James. That moment changes everything. Aisha accepts the check, not for herself but for Malik's future. James starts coming home earlier, holding Emma, talking to Lauren, rebuilding their family. He and Aisha become unlikely allies, sharing stories over coffee in the kitchen. He learns about her community center dream and offers to connect her with investors, not as charity but as respect for her vision. Aisha teaches him about resilience, about finding joy in small things, like Malik's laugh or a clean kitchen. According to a 2023 Harvard study, cross-cultural relationships can reduce prejudice by 30%, and James feels that shift, his world expanding beyond his bubble. By August 2025, the Hawthorne house feels different. Lauren's therapy is helping, and she's laughing again, playing with Emma. James is home more, trading boardroom battles for bedtime stories. Aisha's still there, cleaning but also advising, her voice now heard in a house that once overlooked her. She's enrolled in her social work program, one step closer to her community center. Malik visits sometimes, shooting hoops in the driveway, and James joins him, their laughter echoing. The mansion's no longer a cold showpiece, it's a home, warmed by trust and connection. Aisha's story spreads through Greenwich, a quiet ripple. Other families start noticing their staff, asking their names, their dreams. A 2024 Gallup poll shows 55% of Americans want more workplace equity, and Aisha's presence sparks that change in one small corner of the world. James funds a scholarship in her name at her community college, a nod to her strength. She doesn't need his money, but she accepts the partnership, knowing it's not pity, it's respect. This story isn't just about a billionaire and a maid. It's about seeing people, really seeing them, beyond labels and assumptions. James learned that wealth doesn't buy understanding, but listening does. Aisha showed that strength isn't loud, it's in the quiet acts, like rocking a crying baby or leaving a kind note. Their worlds collided, and instead of breaking, they built something new. Think of James, frozen in that nursery, his fear giving way to trust. Think of Aisha, her heart racing but her hands steady, choosing love over fear. What would you do in their place? Would you judge too quickly, or would you open your heart? This is a call to look closer, to see the people who clean your office, serve your coffee, or pass you on the street. It's a reminder that kindness can bridge any divide, that one moment can change everything. So, if this story hit you in the gut, smash that subscribe button and watch the next video on your screen.